here. Today was a good day. A lot of processing through stuff and thinking about a lot of things. Everything is to move upward, right? I was walking tonight and listening to Andrew Tate and Wes Watson, and it's crazy because like both of them talk about suffering being the way to peace. I don't know what you call it. I mean, I've heard stories from like missionaries or people of the faith who have been, taken and persecuted based on their faith and the closeness they felt to God during the suffering they were enduring. Even hearing a story where these people were taken to a Chinese prison, and they ripped up portions of the Bible to take in with them. And when they got freed, they wished they could go back because they said when they came home, they didn't feel the same closeness to God as they did when they were being tortured and persecuted for their faith. And so, like, trying to think of, I know a lot of us try to find ways to not have suffering, especially, I guess, what you'd call self-inflicted suffering. And I'm trying to think of a way to create some suffering to push beyond the limits that I know to be true, right? And here's why I say that, right? Because I've done portions of 75 hard in a fasted state, right? The longest I've done is 8 days. No food for 8 days, 2 workouts a day. And it's crazy because like I always tell myself when I'm doing 75 hard, like I want to fast more during it. But I know with the 2 workouts, my mind, the bitch voice always says you can't, right? You can't go too much longer than 8 days. What would it look like to push beyond the barrier of what I believe to be possible for myself, right? Even just having a discussion with my wife right now, she said, well, if you were to do I haven't got to what I was going to say I was going to do. So part of it, the suffering creation, I guess, would be, or the self-inflicted suffering would be to fast for 30 days and still do 75 hard. But not only do the 2 workouts a day, but I need to do 3 workouts a day right now. Could I do all 3? I don't know. Might be interesting to find out, right? I always tell people like the barbell will reveal who you truly are. And as I'm starting to see, like there's lots of things that reveal who we truly are, right? Like where do we get to the places where the voices start to tell us that we can't do something? And we all have those limits, right? Like for some of us, it's very easy stuff. I'm like, oh, my brain's saying I can't do it, so I can't, right? Like fasting for 24 hours or even going half a day with no food. People are already like, oh my God, my head's telling me I can't do this. I'm feeling sick and blah, 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 whatever, right? Like there's things that we can do to create suffering to help us to push beyond what we believe to be true. So what would it look like to do a 30-day fast, 3 workouts a day during 75 hard? I'd probably be like crazy and say like, man, this is like 75 harder, right? Like right now, my head's already saying like, well, at least try to do 75 hard with 2 workouts a day and 30 days fasting before you go all crazy and do 3 workouts a day for 30 days fasted and 75 hard. But like, and this is where I get caught up, right? A lot. I want things to be harder than they have to be sometimes. And it bites me in the butt. I can think of times in life where when I was in college and the coach created my schedule and it was an easy schedule. All he wanted me was eligible. I'm like, I got to take harder classes in this. And I took calculus and chemistry and all these hard political science, real classes that required lots of studying. And I wasn't committed to studying, but yet I needed the harder classes and ended up being ineligible when baseball season came around, right? Because I couldn't do the work of the classes I had for the demand of the sports that I had in my life, nor the lack of commitment and discipline to do the work I needed to do anyhow. So this is a repetitive thing that I've always done, right? Like, I just want to make things more difficult, sometimes unnecessarily. And so, but I also think, is that the bitch voice talking to me, telling me I can't do it? And is that the boss voice telling me, handle it? I don't know. So I'm not starting that tomorrow if I do it, right? It'll be in a few days. I have some food thawed out in the fridge, and bitch voice, boss voice, it don't matter. I hate throwing away good food, and if I don't eat because it's already thawed, if I did 30 days, it would be spoiled by the time I got done to eat, ready to eat, and I couldn't do that. So I think I have roughly I have 3 1-pound tubes of ground beef. I have 2 pounds of ribeyes, some chorizo in there. So I think if I do this, we'll go one more week of eating just protein to prepare the body for the fasting stuff. But I think I want to do it with the 3 workouts. We'll see. We're going to think about it. Like, we're talking about this, right? But I mean, it's all about beating the weakness, right? Like, beating the flesh, getting beyond the things that I think are possible for myself to find out what I'm truly made of. And so I want to do it. I really do, And so, I mean, Andrew Tate was talking about during Ramadan, he was arrested in the Romanian prison, and there's days he didn't get to eat, and he's like, what am I supposed to do? Not work out? He's like, that's the only thing I could do to maintain my sanity in prison. It's dark, it's a dungeon, and it's like, he's like, I had to work out, but there's days I didn't get to eat like I wanted to. And so it would definitely be a great start to shedding off some of this body fat that I don't seem to be getting off as quickly as I'd like. So need to do some extreme things in order to get some extreme results too. So I think we're gonna do it. I don't want to wuss out and say I can't, because my goals and my purpose don't care how I feel, right? Yeah. But so today on Facebook, I said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. And I think that's even like, I definitely don't want to wish that life was easier or things were easier. If things were easy, everybody could do them. But I think where I messed up in that quote today is saying, wish you were better. Because I think instead of wishing that things were easier, that we just need to be better, right? Like, I need to work harder. I need to do more. Right? Like, not wish about it, but like do it. Like, be it, right? Be about what you say. And so like tomorrow, what I want to do is sit there, right? And, right, like kind of like in my mind, or not in my mind, but write down, like, as I think about it, like, what would life be if, what would I do if recovery was the most important thing in my life? Right? What does that look like? What would I do if my family was the most important thing in my life? What would I do if God was the most important thing in my life, right? Like, what does that look like, right? I would read scripture every day, right? I would pray every day. I would listen for the call that God is leading me to become something, or my purpose, right? If my family, I would work harder to ensure their safety. I would secure financial freedom, right? There's all these things that I would do. I'd go to meetings, I'd talk to my sponsor, I'd do step work, I'd read my literature, like there's all these things that I would do, and like if those were the things that foundated my life, right? My life was founded on. What would my life look like? Who would I be? And I think those are the things that, right, rather than wishing that recovery and my family and God were easier, like, be better, right? Know what the things are that I need to do and then do them, right? And so yesterday I talked about like needing to probably write stuff down like this so I could see it, right? Because I know the literature says that when we put stuff on paper, it's hard to deny. And so I can't deny that I shouldn't do this, or I can't do it, or it's not something that fits into my daily plan. Like, no, this is what I would do, right? Because they all deserve the very best that I have to give them, right? Recovery, God, my family, all deserve the best. But they don't get it. They get better than most, and I am better than most, but my family doesn't get what they deserve. My God doesn't get what he deserves, and my recovery doesn't get what it deserves. You know, it was interesting because I saw this meme today, right? And it says, me, right? It's like as if I'm saying it. It says, I would die for my family, which is truth, right? Like, I would die to ensure the safety of my family, no matter what. And then it says, I think it says like someone else. And it says, but would you be healthy for your family? And it made me think. Because I started thinking about financial health, spiritual health, physical health, mental health, right? Like, would I be financially healthy for my family? And if I was, or if I was willing to be that, what would that look like? What would I do? How would I get there? And if I would be spiritually healthy for my family, what would that look like? What would I do? How would I get there? Physically healthy for my family, what would that look like? What would I do? How would I get there? Mentally healthy, right? Because there's all these areas in my life that I neglect stuff, and I say it's important, but I don't put the action behind it. So if that's the case, then I either need to stop saying that, or I need to start being about it, right? And I can wish that there were more hours in the day, or whatever sorry excuse I come up with, but the reality is, if I'm going to say it, I need to do it. And if I need to do it, then I can't allow anything to get in my way that prevent me from doing it, right? Like, stop me. Tiredness, hunger, time, those can't be factors, right? And so I know they're necessary. Don't hear me not saying that. I know they're necessary. But they can't be factors in me getting, if I'm going to say something, it needs to be done, and it needs to get done. They can't be factors in why I don't get them done. So, like I said, today was a good day, man. There's a lot of processing that I've been doing, kind of thinking through a lot of things, because I know I've done a lot of talking, and yesterday I talked about the integrity thing, and like, do I do what I say, right? Do I follow through? Right? Or am I like everybody else, just blowing hot air out my butt, right? And not really being a man of my word. And as I think about it, I haven't been a man of my word, and I need to get better, right? I need to. I have to. It's mandatory. So what are the things that need to happen for that to happen? That's what needs to happen. So we got some work to do, right? Like, we're far from perfect, far from being where we want to be. Oh, I got this knot in my shoulder. It's driving me crazy. But what would it look like for us to do it? That's the person I'm excited to meet, because I'm going to meet him. We're going to do this. I want to be well on my way to being the man I want to be by the time I'm 45 years old. I'm 43 right now. I'm going to turn 44. January of next year, I lift as a 45-year-old, so I have a little bit of time before I turn 45 to gives me about just over a year. What could I do in a year? Who could I be in a year? What would my life look like in a year? If I put my head down and start grinding, who knows? I don't know if any of you guys are looking to like join me on some challenge and like put your head down and grind for a year as hard as you can and see what you can become. See what life would look like for you. See how different things would be. Like, are you up for that? Or are you just okay where you are and just settling for the little bit that you got? You know what I mean? So I just want to put it out there, man, like working to be better. And I hope that some of you guys are working to be better too, because this is all we got. And I want to be the best that I can be with what I got, with the time that I have left. I've wasted too many years already just BSing every day. Now I need to make sure I make every minute count. And can you make it count? So I don't know if I said anything that helped you today, but I sure hope I did, because I know I definitely helped myself. But I just wanted to let you guys know today, if nobody's told you, that God loves you, and so do I. I hope you have a great day, and God bless you.